Hi, it's Clinton Hahn here for Toy Reel, and we're at Supanova 2019. I'm here with a fine gentleman that needs no introduction. Been a big fan of his artwork. He's probably one of the most iconic illustrators or comic illustrators for the last couple of decades, Mr. Simon Bisley. Great to have you here, buddy.
Thank you. My pleasure, my pleasure.
Now, I actually bought this wonderful graphic novel in '91 when I was only 18 years old, and some 28 years later, I'm actually sitting next to the man, so I'm going to get him to sign it. We're going to talk a bit about your work on Judgement on Gotham, and he's notable also for his work on Slain, and obviously the quintessential, my favorite characters, Batman and Judge Dredd, as well as Lobo. So, Simon, tell us a bit about your trip down here so far.
Yeah, my first impressions are it just feels like home, to be honest with you. It really does feel like England to me. Yeah. Really, I know it sounds, I don't want to insult the Australians, but it seems very, the people here are just like, well, just like my mates at home, you know.
Yeah. Okay, let's quickly talk a bit about your work. Like yesterday I was sitting on a panel and we were talking about things like just art or illustration. Now there was a question about, anatomy and life drawing. Tell us a bit about your thought process behind illustration and what matters to you most, I guess.
The work I'm inspired by is always Frazetta, some Bill Sinkovich work, and a lot of other artists. Like, racing cars, motorcycles, good movies, people, places. Everything is inspiring, and that inspires my work. It's just life, I think, and good things in life, as opposed to an actual drawing style, particularly. I don't think I ever followed. I think as an artist, I always wanted to kind of go very much my own way. I never copied directly anything from artists I liked. I just used their energy to go, wow, that inspires me. And wow, I want to get drawing again,
Okay, your work on Judgement on Gotham, to me, that is quite reminiscent of, let's say, something again that's very iconic. I recall Frank Miller's Dark Knight. I mean, this is on the same level for that. What was your approach to this particular, for this graphic novel? And I noticed that you took some liberties as far as, you're talking about editors yesterday. Did you have a specific guideline that they given to you, or you basically just did it the way you felt best represented, Batman and Judge Dredd?
I had a free rein on it completely. I had no problems at all. The only things that were specifically identified with DC and 2000 AD was that they wanted equal billing for both the characters. Can you make Judge Dredd bigger in this shot? Maybe can you put Batman in there? Just a few, but the bet just let me get on with it, because that's why they chose me. The thing with Lobo, for example, I absolutely redesigned it, the character all on my own. I reconstructed and redesigned the stories. I mean, Keith would do sort of like lay out the storyboards, and I just kind of ignore some of it and just add all the other shit to it, I totally redesigned Lobo's entirety.
The color palette in there is also quite nice, and we talk about, let's say, movie sensibilities or colors. You use like a lot of teal and orange in this particular graphic novel as well.
No, well, the thing is, it's obvious that if you see the blues, yeah, we need a contrast. It can't all be, my colors are energetic and lively, so it just livens up the blues and lights up the grays, because predominantly Judge Dredd and Batman are gray and blues. Okay. So you need the yellow and the orange just to contrast against the characters.
Okay, a lot of your work I feel is also quite inspired by music. I know you do a lot of crossover, you do a lot of music album covers. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, actually, it's interesting enough. I've always been orientated around heavy metal music, rock, but I've done very, very few, if hardly any, only maybe not even a handful of album covers for music bands, which seems kind of strange considering I'm so associated with the kind of metal genre. And, I play bass in my own heavy metal band, Doom Tradon.
But I hear from good authority you play drums too.
I play double bass drums in thrash metal bands and black metal bands, but I was sick and tired of playing drums. So I took up bass because I wanted to front a band and be on stage. So I learned to play bass within like 3 years.
Tell us a bit about Slain as a character, and as far as the art development's concerned and the way you approach that character.
I saw what Glenn Fabry had done, and he's such a much better comic book artist than I am, and a much better inker by far. So I thought the only way you can kind of beat this guy is to paint it, because you can really disguise your inner, you can fluff it with painting, You can just, suggest with color and movement, and with mood and etc. So it's a good medium. So no one had painted Slain, so I thought it was a good idea. I think I could really blow people away with that, and I did. I think very much my mark is the Slain's his boar belt. He's got a big boar head on his belt with big tusks, and the tartan was pretty much my kind of thing.
Okay, let's talk a bit of the techie stuff as far as your inks and your pens are concerned. I mean, for those illustrators that are really into this sort of stuff, I mean, what do you generally draw with, pencil with, ink with? I mean, some things I notice you use, you know, I mean, the things like fountain pens, illustrators use fountain pens or gel pens, or what's your thing at the moment?
Yeah. No, I mean, this, for example, is what I'll do at a convention. You can see it's predominantly just ink, washes.
Yeah.
So I'll use, you know, really cheap watery ink. Not Indian, just like fountain pen ink. You know, brush, dip it in water.
Yep. Brush pens.
You know, so just wash it around.
Yeah, okay.
Use a thicker black. Just control it, you know.
Yeah. So brush pens are a big thing, obviously.
Pens, yeah. But the thing is, you know, the reason why I use it is because it just covers a larger surface area.
Yes.
If you're doing sketches for people, which you do many sketches for people, and you're just using a little scratchy pen, it just takes too long. I'm not a real kind of artist, a true comic book artist in the sense of, you know, singular lines and just, you know, perfect line work. I tend to fluff and smudge it, you know, through speed and, you know.
Now, with storyboarding, you know, in a lot of films that we make, A-list Hollywood films and films in general, there's a lot of storyboard artists. Have you actually thought about crossing over and doing storyboards for big budget feature films?
A lot of fun. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think because it's very kind of instinctive, and I love to do the sketchy stuff and the drawing and the design style part of the work.
Yeah.
I think the boring bit is the inking bit and the finishing off. That seems like a waste of time somehow, you know. But no, I love to do design work, and I love to do. Yeah, it'd be great to do storyboards, you know. It depends what the film is, obviously, you know.
Simon Bisley fans out there, what's on the horizon for, let's say, the next 5 years?
Next 5 years. Well, I want to live for the next 5 years at least.
Yeah.
Breathe and enjoy life, you know. Run through the fields happy and sunshine on my face. There's a lot of things I want to do, a lot of pet projects I want to do. There's a lot of independent comic book companies coming up, you know, which is really great because you can all do it. And a lot of young people who were fans when they were younger now become sort of grown up and got jobs and got money and employ me, you know, and it's good.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Simon. I appreciate the interview and
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
safe travels back to the UK.
Thank you very much.
By the way, did you watch the cricket last night?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't watch cricket.
Okay.
I don't like cricket. What happened?
This is Clinton signing off for Toy Reel, and I'm going to get Simon to sign this Judgement on Gotham 91. And also, it's pity that Simon didn't actually draw this, but this was sculpted by Renee Munson, actually, or Dean Munson. So I actually would like
any royalty checks for this either. So I'm ripped off all over the place. Actually, this is a really nice piece, actually.
Yeah, it is. It's a UK-based company. It's called Reaction Figures. They did 2000 AD. So
Yeah, nice, yeah.
yeah. So all the companies out there, like Four Horsemen Studios or Hasbro or anyone else, he's your guy.